Hello, friends. Welcome to Arsa Medica. Today we are going to be talking about Sushant Singh Rajput. We are still reeling under the untimely death of this fantastic performer, and uh, in this presentation, I am trying to seek an astrological interpretation of his untimely death. While we will never really know what exactly happened and what led to his death, uh, I do understand that there could be other explanations for the same. I am a medical doctor, and I understand that there is a medical or there could be a medical explanation for what happened to him. Perhaps there could be other explanations based on circumstances in his life. What I would like to say is that this is an educational exploration based on the principles of classic Jyotish, and as has been taught and transmitted to us by the rishis. And basically, this is just one interpretation of what could have happened. The reality will always remain perhaps covered from us. Also, the aspect of predeterminism, as in whether what happened was predestined or whether there was an aspect of free will in terms of whatever Sushant Singh Rajput did or what happened to him. So we will try to look at these things, but strictly from the Jyotish perspective. As I said, this is an interpretation from the eyes of astrology. Having said this, let us go to the details of this case today. As we know, uh, he was born on the 21st of January 1986 at 12 p.m. at Patna, Bihar. Now, this is from a well known online internet source of Kundalis or astro or horoscopes called astrosage.com. Okay, so this is what is given as his date of birth and his time of birth and place of birth. From the mainstream media, we know that he was found dead at his residence in Mumbai on the 14th of June 2020. And the medical cause of death, which the police also have announced, uh, is asphyxiation. Okay, which means death because of oxygen supply cut off to the brain. Okay, now let's go to his Kundali directly. Or before that, let us look at what all we will be uh, inquiring today about his astrological condition. Okay, now obviously we will. There is a fair amount of astrological analysis which needs to be done today in this presentation, and there are questions which need answers. So, what kind of a person was Sushant Singh Rajput? What was his personality? What was driving him? Um, what were his instincts? What were perhaps his greatest aspirations and his deepest fears? Um, for that, we will study the ascendant and we will study everything concerned with the lagna or the ascendant. Okay, all the various associations of the ascendant. Secondly, what kind of a mind did he have? As a person, as a thinking person, as a thinking actor, um, as well as somebody who was very young in his 30s. What kind of a mind did he have? What kind of influences were there on his mind? Uh, what kind of stresses were there? What kind of aspirations did he have? What might have led him to take some drastic steps? Um, and we will study his moon in that context in great detail. The important aspect to look for always also in the chart is actually the source. So uh, there is something called as the Atma Karaka. So the soul. So we always speak of the soul, the mind, and the body. Traditionally, the soul, the natural soul Karaka in the chart is the sun, the Naisargik Karaka of the soul. Plus, there is also what is called as Atma Karaka. So we want to look at what was his actual soul's purpose in a sense. What was he trying to um, express as a spiritual being in this lifetime, perhaps. Um, When we look at the chart, we want to do a detailed analysis of the Kundali with classical traditional Parashari principles, and I will not preempt it, we will come to it later. While we do that, we will realize which are the grahas which are malefic, which are functionally malefic. Um, you know, grahas are like double-edged swords. So, on one side, if they give you a result, on the other side, they can even cut you. So, which are the grahas which took him to the heights of Bollywood success, and which are the same grahas perhaps, or a combination of them, which then pulled him down or which brought him to the brink of despair. Now, when any such thing happens to a person, uh, like an untimely death of this nature, obviously the person would be running through a certain phase in his life. You know, things don't happen all of a sudden. Things are always brought to a point when things culminate. So, what kind of a phase of life was he in? Was he under a lot of stress professionally? Uh, what kind of things were perhaps happening in his mind? Recently, in the last year, in the last 2 3 years, what would have happened perhaps in terms of how it affected him, the period of time? We'll look at that. Uh, we'll look at a few advanced concepts also. So there is something called as Ashtaka Varga, wherein there are points given to each house, uh, where we look at in a way, the strength of a house from the perspective of a transiting planet. So how effective is that house going to give results? And we certainly have to look at his houses of fame, career, friendships, or networking, particularly because he was a very public figure. He was a actor, a public persona with a fan following, with his movies, out there, and maybe he had a network of people who were the circumstances in his life, which led him to perhaps take certain decisions. What kind of a transit influences did influence his death? So at the time of his death, in terms of the Gochar grahas, the position of the major grahas like Jupiter, Saturn, like Venus, where were they, like Sun, and what role did they play in his, in terms of circumstances which led to his eventual death. Then we will also look at the outermost planets. Now, outermost planets are traditionally not studied in or researched in Vedic astrology, but we want to certainly look at Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus, because there is some very interesting finding which I want to talk about in the chart, which also indicates a certain vulnerability of this chart to a few things happening to him. And finally, we want to look at a few technical aspects which are known in medical astrology as the 22nd Drekkana, the 64th Navamsh, the 85th Dwadashamsh, and Mrityu Bhag. Okay, so these are some very crucial kind of data points which corroborate or confirm some of the findings in terms of what may have happened to him. So we will be so our analysis now forthcoming immediately will be based on this kind of a framework which I wanted to first talk about before we started. With this brief background, now let me go to the detailed study of the Kundali. Now in front of us here, you can see the Lagna Kundali, the D1 chart. On the side of it is the Navamsh, a small, and we can also see the planets below. This is basically an image from Parashar Light of Sushant Singh Rajput based on his birth data. Now let's start analyzing. We see here that he is having an Aries ascendant, and the Lagnesh, or the Lord of the ascendant, is Mars. Now Mars is placed in the 7th house here in Libra in detriment. Okay, own house is Aries, so in Libra it is in detriment, and it is also in the Marak Sthana, the 7th house being the Marak Sthana. Um, Mars or the Lagnesh here is in the nakshatra Vishakha, and in the final Navaunsh um, of Libra, and it is basically in the Gemini Navaunsh. Now, the Lord of Vishakha, the planetary Lord, is basically Jupiter. Okay, and um, you can see that Jupiter is in the Mars nakshatra. Okay, in the 10th house in Dhanishta, which the Lord of which is Mars. Now we will talk about Jupiter in great detail, but first let's look at the ascendant part in detail. Now the Lagnesh is directly aspecting the ascendant, okay, by the seventh drishti. Now you also have the in the ascendant you have the Rahu Ketu axis running through the first and the seventh house. Rahu in the ascendant is in Ashwini nakshatra in Mesh Ras or in Aries. Ashwini being a Ketu's nakshatra, and Ketu in the seventh house is in Swati nakshatra, which is a Rahu nakshatra. So you have a nakshatra parivartan yog of Rahu Ketu running through the first and the seventh house. This makes him a kind of a brooding personality, or that this gives him a sense of a karmic foreboding. Rahu in the Lagna uh, will will indicates a personality which is very ambitious, which has these wild dreams, which almost are superhuman in a sense or larger than life. And then in this case, you find that the ascendant nakshatra is Bharani. Bharani is a nakshatra of Shukra, and the nakshatra deity of Bharani is Yama. Okay, Yama. Yama. Yama is called the god of death. Is the god of dharma. The Bharani nakshatra is very complex. It indicates a very creative kind of a instinct because it's the womb which gives birth to life, but it also indicates a kind of a death in terms of the death of this life and then the afterlife kind of a thing. Now, incidentally, Pluto in Vedic astrology or in ancient scriptures, we have tried to understand that Pluto is equivalent to Yama. Okay, Yama. So Pluto in this case is in the seventh house, almost conjunct with Ketu. Okay, so that indicates a certain morbidity of thought processes, maybe. So this is about the ascendant. This is the personality, very intense personality, very deep, very ambitious, but at the same time nursing some sort of a secret pain, suffering, a sense of foreboding. We get the picture, right? Now we move from here to the moon. Now the moon is the mind. Okay, so we will first analyze the ascendant, the moon, and the sun, and then we will do the further analysis. Now before we go further, let's look at the Navaunsh chart on the side. You will find that, as I said, there is a Mars and Jupiter nakshatra parivartan yog here, because Mars is in Vishakha, Jupiter's nakshatra, and Jupiter is in Dhanishta, Mars nakshatra, and you find here that the fourth drishti, the fourth aspect of Mars in the D9 chart is on Jupiter in Lagna. Okay, so this is a very interesting point to note, that there is a certain aspect of Mars on Jupiter. So Mars is a very important planet. If you see below down, there is a Shadbala chart also given. Shadbala is the sixth potency strength of the planet. Shadbala here of Mars is 1.32, which is quite high. Okay, and also Saturn we see is 1.37, which is quite high. So we'll come to the Saturn part a little later. So point to note is that Mars is particularly dangerous in this chart because it also has a direct aspect on the Lagna where there is Rahu placed, as I already mentioned. Now let's look at the moon. The moon is in Rohini nakshatra and it is exalted. Okay, so ordinarily one would be very happy it's an exalted moon. Moon is also Vargottam in the D9 chart, which means it is again in Taurus in the 9th house in the D9 chart. So moon is strong, here, apparently at first glance. But remember, moon is placed in the second house, which is the Marakasthana, and moon is almost conjunct, almost at the same degree, like just 1 degree away is Gulika, also in Rohini. So moon is at 13 degrees 24 minutes Rohini, Gulika is 12 degrees 12 minutes at in Rohini Nakshatra. So they are almost conjunct, and Gulika is Shani Putra, very malefic. So moon is actually conjunct with Gulika, which is not good at all. It indicates a certain affectation or a certain kind of a compromise of the mental faculties because of Gulika. And also point to note is that the same Mars which we spoke of, the Lagnesh earlier, has the eighth drushti. His eighth aspect is on moon here. Okay, and also if you now see the D9 chart, um, you know that's so the moon is 12th from Mars. Okay, so that's it's a 212 kind of a aspect between moon and Mars, which is again not good. Okay, now um, another point to note here is that from the eighth house there is Saturn, and Saturn is in Anuradha Nakshatra, which is its own nakshatra. Okay, and it has a direct drishti on the seventh aspect of Saturn is on moon in the second house. So this is a very crippling, a very debilitating aspect. Saturn in Scorpio in Anuradha Nakshatra with the seventh aspect on a Rohini Nakshatra moon closely associated with Gulika. So you can imagine the combined onslaught of Saturn and Gulika on the moon. And if you see the D9 chart again on the side, you find that Saturn has a seventh aspect on the moon directly again. Because even Saturn is Vargottam in Scorpio in the D9 chart. So all in all, the moon is very compromised. It's like a mind which is under a lot of pressure. And again, the moon and the Mars have a 212 relationship in the D1 chart. That means you have the karmic, you have the demon Rahu lurking in your backyard, as it were. And again, you find in the D9 chart that 12th to the moon is Gulika. So moon and Gulika share a 212 aspect with Gulika in the 8th house. So mind is deeply disturbed. Okay, generally you can see that it's a very intense person, a very intelligent man, moon being in Taurus in Rohini Nakshatra, very intelligent, exalted moon, but compromised severely because of the influences that I already mentioned. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is the sun, because that completes for us the trinity of the ascendant, moon and the sun. Now sun in general is the natural Atmakaraka. So the natural Naisargik Atmakaraka. So it gives us some understanding about what this person was all about in terms of what his innermost motivations were. Now here sun is the lord of the 5th house, Panchamesh, and it is in the 10th house, closely conjunct practically with Venus. Okay, so sun is combusting Venus. Venus is the Marrakesh, lord of the 2nd and the 7th, and sun is closely conjunct with Venus here. Okay, we will also realize that sun is in the D9 chart. The 64th Navaunsh is also the sun, which is the fourth house from the moon. The lord of the 4th house from the moon is the sun. So 64th Navaunsh, which is known to be malefic for health purposes in medical astrology, is the sun. Okay, so there is certainly something wrong here. You find there are problems with the ascendant. There is major maleficity associated with the moon here, and then the sun also is the 64th Navaunsh. In the in the D9 chart, you find that sun is in the Pisces Navaunsh with Uranus. Okay, sun Venus, again Venus and sun are close because obviously they will be in the same Navaunsh because Venus is combust and Uranus is there. So uh, and then there is a Jupiterian aspect on the sun. Okay, so to that extent, that aspect might look good, but then we realize that Jupiter is not a very good planet for this chart, and we also realize that Jupiter Tasha has played a role in the death of this person as well. Okay, now this was the initial analysis. Now let's get into a little deeper. Now, this being a Mesh Lagna, the Badhakesh, okay, is Saturn, is Lord of the 11th house, which is Kumbha. So Lord of that is Saturn, and the Badhakesh is in the Ashtamastan, Ashtamesh. Now that's one part. Now the Marakesh planets, being the Lord of the 2nd and the 7th house, is Venus. So you have one is Saturn is a Badhakesh, then Venus is the Marakesh, and Venus is combust. Okay, so Venus combust in the 10th house indicates, and Venus being the Karaka of the performing arts, the Karaka of Bollywood, the Karaka of acting, generically speaking, here combust in the 10th house is indicative of certain frustrations at the workplace, and so this is one important thing to look at. Next, we look at the analysis of the 6th, 8th, and the 12th houses, because these are very important to understanding how the disease could have happened. Okay, now let's first go to the 8th house straight away, because the Badhakesh is Saturn, and the same Saturn is in the 8th house, in the Saturn's nakshatra, and the Ashtamesh, the Lord of the 8th house is Mars, and we already saw that. We have seen the deleterious effect of Mars on the ascendant and on the moon. Okay, now here again Mars and Saturn are in a 2-12 relationship in the D12, and if you now look at the D9 chart, you see that basically they are in the Shadashtak kind of a thing. So the Saturn is 6th from Mars in the D9 chart, and obviously therefore Mars is 8th from Saturn. So they are uneasy with each other. So that is the Ashtamesh connection here. Now the Lord of the 6th house, the Shashtesh, is Mercury. Now Mercury is in Capricorn. Okay, and Mercury is also the Lord of the 3rd house. Now the 3rd house is also the Prati longevity house. It's also the mirror house of the 8th house. So anything affecting the 3rd house or anything affecting the 3rd house certainly has implication on the 8th house. So Mercury, now if you look at Mercury in the D9 chart, you find Mercury is with Ketu. So there is a certain compromise here which indicates something to do with longevity, some affectation to longevity here in terms of a normal long ayu. Okay, so this is a point to note here. And Mercury is in which nakshatra in the D1 chart? It is in Capricorn in nakshatra Uttarashada, which is the sun's nakshatra. Okay, and it's in sun's nakshatra, and it is also associated with Ketu in the D9. Okay, and Sun is the 64th Navamsh Lord, which I told you all about. So therefore, here Mercury is malefic for sure, because it is Lord of the 3rd and the 6th clearly. And another important point to note here is that Uranus is there in the 8th house, and it is in the Jyeshtha nakshatra, very close to the Gandanta with Mula. It is in the last Navamaush of Vrushik. Okay, so it is the last Navamaush of Vrushik, which is the mean Navamaush. Okay, and here we find that it is very close to the Gandanta point, and that Jyeshtha nakshatra being a nakshatra of Mercury. So Uranus, the planet of suddenness, is at the Gandanta, Jyeshtha Mula Gandanta. So the sudden nature of his death also can be and with respect to Mercury affectation by Ketu, okay, indicates a few things. Now, also one more point here, which I am mentioning now, is that you see that the third aspect of Saturn is on Mercury in the D9 chart. Okay, so that again is heavy compromise on Mercury, and obviously with Mercury with Ketu, the direct opposition is Rahu there, and Rahu is with Neptune. Okay, so coming to that a little later. So basically, we are looking at the sixth house um, affectation, the eighth house I already mentioned, and the 12th house. Now the 12th lord is Jupiter. Jupiter is Vyayesh. Okay, and incidentally, this Sushant Singh Rajput was running his Jupiter Mahadasha right now, and I'll speak of the Mahadasha and the timing of that with respect to his death and with respect to what he was going through a little later. But the point to note is he was running his Jupiter Mahadasha, and Jupiter is lord of the 12th house. Now Jupiter, as I said, is acting along with the Marakesh, along with the Lagnesh Mangal, which is in the Marak Sthana, as I already mentioned. Okay, and Jupiter has a direct aspect also on Mercury, which can be called a beneficial aspect in a way because it will stabilize Mercury. But then Jupiter is also looking at the 12th, at the 7th house in the D9 chart. Okay, so Jupiter is in the ascendant. So actually, the position of Jupiter seems to be good in a way. But then, if you look at the D1 chart, Jupiter is lord of the 9th house and lord of the 12th house. So therefore, during the Jupiter Dasha, decline was almost certainly predetermined. Okay, it would have happened in any case, and the Jupiter Dasha started for Sushant Singh Rajput in 2018. Okay, so this was the initial kind of analysis here in terms of what kind of a profile he was having. Okay, now let's go back to the initial, the first sort of a checklist that we had. Let us look at few other things. Let us now discuss his dasha, which he was running in detail. Let us discuss also, as I said, the Ashtaka Varga and the Jaimini considerations which are relevant to him, and let us also discuss some of the Gochar aspects which affected his death. Okay, including also additionally the role of the outermost planets. Okay, so and we are going to be discussing some other intricacies as well. As I mentioned earlier, the last line, as you can see here, I already covered the 64th Navamsha, but I want to also cover the other things. Okay, now if you see here in this chart, again I'm back to the original chart here. Let us now look at the outer planets and what role they might have played in some manner in this whole tragedy. Now Uranus is in Jyeshta Nakshatra, as I already mentioned. It is in very close to the Jyeshta Mool Gandanta. Enough said about it. Uranus is the planet of suddenness, so any sudden decisions, and again it is directly opposite Moon there, Moon with Gulika, Uranus with Saturn, so it is self-explanatory what might have happened. Now Pluto, as I said, is in Rahu's Nakshatra, so Pluto is again sort of acting through the karmic axis on the body of the person and the instincts and the personality of the person. Again, I have already discussed it. Now Neptune here, which I have not discussed so far, is in the 9th house in the Moola Nakshatra. Okay, so it is in the Moola Nakshatra, and also it is at 10 degrees 39 minutes of Sagittarius, which is the 4th Navamsha of Sagittarius, so which is the Cancer Navamsha. So Neptune is in Cancer, as you can see in the D9 chart. It is in Cancer with Rahu, and here it is in the Mool Nakshatra. So Mool Nakshatra, as we know, the god, the deity of Mool Nakshatra is Nirti, the goddess of destruction, and Neptune is the Asura, the original overlord of the Devatas. Again, the Lord of the Skies, in a fiery sign in the Mool Nakshatra. So, and concerned, connected with which house? The ninth house, house of fame. So there was a certain, it's almost like being cursed. His fame was cursed in a sense, is what one could perhaps surmise. Now, if you look at the, if you look at the Ashtaka Varga scores now this person, Sushant Singh Rajput, his whole life was about his whole personality, his performing arts abilities, his work as an actor, the fame that he got, and the adulation and the circle of friends and network and fans that he built up being an actor. So, which means we are talking about the ninth house, house of fame, 10th house, house of karma, 11th house, Labhasthana, house of networking, house of friendships, house of professional relationships. Correct? So, we need to look at this, whether these were strong enough. So, we notice here that there are only 21, the Ashtak Varga score is only 21 for the ninth house, whereas the mean score, the desired score should be 27. Again, in the 10th house, you find that the Ashtak Varga score is only 26. And in the 11th house, again, it is only 25. Okay, so now if you look at the other houses, if you look at the second house, it is 27. If you look at the third house, it is 33. So on other fronts, he was fine, but on the front of even his 8th house, which is the house of longevity, had a score of 39. So Saturn in the 8th house would have ordinarily given him a long lifespan, but something happened. Perhaps because of moon sitting and the factors I've already mentioned, and the proximity of Uranus, which gave a suddenness to the whole story. Okay, and here is where I would like to stress the importance of free will. That perhaps this was not predestined, perhaps the death was not predestined, but then there was an aspect of free will, so which he might have exercised or something. So, coming back to the Neptune part. Okay, so Ashtak Varga. So basically now, with this understanding, one realizes that he must have faced problems in his professional domain. Now let us try to understand this from the point of view of the Gochar planets, the transiting planets, and what would have happened. But before that, I think it is important to analyze some more using the dashas. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically go to the next this thing. I'll come back. Basically, I want to discuss the dashas here. Now, see, the point to note here is that his Rahu Dasha started from 4th of July 2000, and the Rahu Dasha lasted till 2018. And you will realize that was during this time he came to Mumbai, struggled much, and around 2011 onwards he started making a mark. He got his big successes. Okay, that was all during the Rahu Dasha, and that made him ambitious. That gave him the hunger to achieve more, to see dreams, maybe some of them unrealistic. I have already spoken about the Rahu influence in this chart. And then Rahu is like an illusion, the Maya. So, and the Maya worked for him for quite a while till the Jupiter Dasha started in 2018. Okay, and Jupiter being the Vyayesh, as soon as Jupiter Dasha started, the problems began. Okay, so in 2018 Jupiter was in the 8th house. Okay, was in Scorpio. So that was a time when basically his because it is the lord of the ninth house. So we are the Navamesh in the Ashtamasthana. So his fame started declining. He started perhaps becoming, certain issues which started in terms of how he was perceived by, perhaps by his um, certain other colleagues in the industry, and falling in disrepute with them and things like that perhaps started happening. Then in 2019, Jupiter, you know, um, typically in November of 2019, Jupiter entered Sagittarius, but it rapidly passed through Sagittarius and entered Capricorn, where it is currently. So today we are recording this in June, and it is currently in Capricorn. So it transited very rapidly in this period, and in a house which has a Ashtaka Varga score of only 21. So all the efforts that he was doing, maybe from November, December, Jan, Feb, March, the last 5-6 months, were of no use. He was struggling extremely hard, but because of the low Ashtaka Varga score, things were not happening, and Jupiter did not stay there long to give him the benefit. It raced through the house and um, entered into the 10th house, where it is debilitated. Here Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn, and Jupiter also became retrograde and or Vakri in Capricorn. So that further complicated things for him. And then we also have Saturn, which has entered into Capricorn on 26th of January 2020, which has also become retrograde. So we have a situation right now that Saturn and Jupiter both are retrograde, and then we have the COVID virus happening at the same time. So this really pushed him to the edge in terms of Gochar considerations here. And so we are right now looking at the Gochar considerations and the Ashtak Varga analysis. Now, his death was on the 14th of June, on which day the moon was in Pisces, Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Nakshatra Lord is Saturn. So moon was in Saturn Nakshatra, and Nakshatra Devata for Uttara Bhadrapada is Ahir Budnya, which is the cosmic serpent, which is more like very, very deep rooted churning happening in the soul. So that is very indicative of what could have happened on 14th of June. And Sun was on the brink of entering into basically Gemini. Okay, so it was in the last Navamaush of Taurus. Okay, which basically is Kanya Navamaush, or basically Virgo Navamaush. So again, the Navamaush Lord is Mercury. So you find that the moon was in the Mercury Navamaush of Mercury, and then we've already seen what Mercury association with Ketu and other things. Okay, so this was the Gochar considerations as far as moon is concerned, as far as Jupiter and Saturn are concerned. Now Venus also transiting Venus Gochar, Shukra was in Taurus on 14th of June, and it was retrograde. It is retrograde till 25th of June. Even right now as I record this, it is retrograde. So we find that in his own sign Venus is retrograde. So Venus, which is combust in the D1 chart, which is Marrakesh, is also retrograde. So it indicated a lot of frustration of a kind, and particularly Venus being the Karaka of performing arts, of Bollywood, of acting, retrograde, and in the condition that I already mentioned. So that was very telling. Okay, so this was about the analysis of the Gochar and this thing. Now I will go to the detailed Dasha analysis now, but before that, since we have this screen in front of us, we can see the D1 chart here, the D9. D9 we have discussed already in detail. You have also the Gulika in D9 in the 8th house. One additional point. Now, important point to note is the 22nd Dreshkan here. Okay, is the Lord of the 8th house in the D3 chart, which is Jupiter. So Jupiter is the 22nd Dreshkan, and we find that he is running the Jupiter Dasha. Okay, in the Dreshkan Kundali also we find a lot of complications because we find Moon is with Gulika. Here again Rahu Ketu is passing through the H1 H7 axis. We find that the eighth aspect of Mars is on Mercury and Sun and Venus. So Mercury, Sun are all very closely kind of Mercury being Shashtesh. Sun is, as I said, also the 64th Navamsh. Okay, so and then Saturn again in the 8th house. So all these things are not very good in terms of the important point is that the 22nd Dreshkan in the D3 chart is Jupiter. Now in the D12 chart, um, which is Dwadashansh, what is studied is the 85th Dwadashansh, which is basically the 8th house in the D12 chart. So here the 85th Dwadashansh is Mercury because it is Gemini there. Okay, so just to summarize, the 64th Navamsh is Sun, the 22nd Dreshkan is Jupiter, and the 85th Dwadashansh is Mercury. So Sun, Jupiter, and Mercury, um, also conspired big time in addition to the other planets, which we have mentioned. Okay, so um, with this, now let us go back to the Dasha analysis in detail at the time of his death particularly. Now, as I said, he was running the Jupiter Dasha starting from 2018. Um, as soon as the Jupiter Dasha started, it being his bad luck started. The transiting Jupiter also did not help him, as we have already seen. And um, as if you look at the detailed Dasha, you see the chart on the right side, right lower chart. You see he's running on the 12th of June. He was running Jupiter Mahadasha, Jupiter Antardasha, Rahu Pratyantar Dasha or Bhukti, Saturn Sukshma, and Rahu Pranadasha. So basically he was running Rahu Bhukti and in Jupiter Rahu sort of a thing. And on the 14th also he was running, it was Jupiter Rahu, Saturn, and again Jupiter Pranadasha. So basically you see the malefic influence of Jupiter there, which really damaged him big time. And Rahu and Saturn there, and Saturn being the placed in the 8th house, Rahu placed in the Lagna, so all that. So basically this is what has really happened on the 14th. 14th of June, you see that he is running Jupiter, Rahu, Saturn, and Jupiter. Now, if you also additionally we want to corroborate with the Yogini Dasha, because Yogini Dashas are shorter. It's only 36 years, and here we also see some other aspects. So Venus is the Marakesh. So on the 4th of June 2020, he is running Venus, Mars. So the Marrakesh Yogini is running basically with Mars, and already I have told you that Mars is the Ashtamesh here. And before the Venus Mercury started, in the Ashtamesh Yogini he died. Okay. Now again here on this slide you can see also the Samudaya Ashtak Varga chart on top center. Again, point to note is if you look at the scores below, okay, you suddenly find that after 39 score in the 8th house, 9th house is 21, 10th is 26, 11th is 25, 12th is 27. So 9th, 10th, 11th houses are badly affected. His career is kind of got affected at the time of the Gochar, because as we already discussed in the 9th and the 10th chart, 9th and the 10th house, we had the Saturn and the Jupiter transits happening last year, this year. Okay. Um, so this is what really, you know, would have happened. But if you see the eighth house, we see that it's a very high score of 39, which would indicate a tendency towards longevity. And also, Saturn traditionally in the eighth house is considered to be a bestower of longevity in a sense. So it's actually, but then there is Uranus there. So perhaps whatever happened could have been averted by his free will, but then that it was like a 60-40 situation, maybe 60, either 60-40, which is which we do not know. Whether 60 is for living and 40 is for death, or 60 is for death and 40 is for living. But it was a situation like that, and perhaps either of the two could have prevailed. Um, okay, so this was the analysis. Now, additionally, I want to a few things which I want to kind of add. Now, when we did the analysis of the chart from the Jaimini Karaka perspective, the Atma Karaka of Jaimini is Mars. So, which also kind of corroborates, because as I said, Lagnesh is Mars. His whole, he was very dashing, he was very dashing, very aggressive, also very straight. Again, there was an influence of Rahu on the Lagna and the direct drishti of Mars on Rahu, as we already discussed, and other things. So, and then again, if you see here the Jnati Karaka, which is concerned with disease or misfortune, is Sun. So, Sun is the Jnati Karaka here, and as I said, Sun also happens to be the 64th Navamsh. So the 64th Navamsh and the Jnati Karaka are all kind of connected. Okay, so we see that again at the time of the Sankranti of Sun from Taurus into Gemini, he died. So all in all these planets kind of played a role in his untimely death. Okay, with this I will, I offer my sincere condolences to the bereaved family of Sushant Singh Rajput. His loss has left a vacuum which will not be filled in the industry, and it has opened up a whole can of worms about the different stresses and challenges that budding actors face. Okay, rest in peace, um, and thank you so much for uh, basically. I thank the listener of this presentation for your interest. Okay, my name is Dr. Rahul Kamath, and my channel is Arsa Medica. Bye.